I looked at his back in a trance. This familiar scene happened in my previous life. At that time, my face was red, and I was ashamed and angry. I took the risk of stripping naked and sending myself to bed, but Shinhushi had no feelings for me. I was also angry that he was cold-blooded and heartless, and even wanted to snatch away the son I raised with great difficulty. Divorce. But if Rujing is with me, at worst I won't date in the future. I cried and shouted. I didn't expect that in the end. Shinhushi would look down on me because of this kind of thing. Shinhushi turned around and gently wiped away the tears and snot bubbles on my face. Jiangning, stop it. If you are like this, how can I let you and your mother go? He is always like this, ruthless and warm. I hate his coldness and arrogance. But I can't give up his gentle side. I cried even more loudly. He shook his head helplessly and sighed. Ningning, why don't you believe it, whether there is such a thing or not? It will not affect my feelings for you. I don't believe it. But when I met Shinhushi's clear and sincere eyes, I couldn't help but wonder if I really asked too much. There are hundreds of people, and Shinhushi, who is like a flower on the mountain, may really not like this. Forget it. With Rujing, I really don't want to find another one. It's better to live a good life with Shinhushi. At least his face is pleasing to me. Thinking of this, my thoughts of divorce gradually faded. So I grabbed his collar fiercely. My eyes were about to burst, and I warned him word by word. Shinhushi, from now on, you'd better pray that I don't find out that you have a little lover outside. He was stunned, and then laughed and cried. You, hurry up, I said seriously. Okay, if I betray you, let me be ruined and leave the house. Okay, I burst into laughter. It doesn't matter if I leave the house. Everyone knows that Shinhushi is a genius in the financial circle and the youngest professor. He is a modest gentleman with good character, and he cares most about his personal reputation. The storm is over. He pointed at the sexy stewardess outfit on me, shook his head gently, and didn't agree with it. I jumped onto the bed in a panic and got into the quilt, blushing so much that I felt like I was burning. Actually, I haven't thought about what to do. I'm just curious and want to try it out. Shinhushi's deep eye sockets showed a faint smile. I understand. What do you know? I muttered while pinching the corner of the quilt. He suddenly leaned over and whispered to me. I understand. Our Ningning is very simple, right? I shrieked, shrank into the quilt, and kept shouting for him to leave. The door was closed gently. With a click, my restless heart was completely shut up, but I still had the illusion that such a good Shinhushi would fall in love with me one day. But it wasn't until I was old and lying on the hospital bed, when he came to visit me with the silver-haired, elegant and confident Lu Yenjing I realized that I was wrong. I was so wrong. Before I died, I looked at Shinhushi. Old Shin, I can no longer lie to myself that I have failed in this life. I am a completely pitiful person. He held my hand, shed tears, and agreed. You deceived me so much. I shed turbid tears in humiliation. If there is an afterlife, I absolutely don't want to live such a life. Fortunately, God has mercy on me and really gave me a chance to start over. Okay, divorce, Rujing is yours. I got up and said lightly. Shinhushi's proud back stiffened, and he slowly turned around and frowned. Ningning, stop it. Rujing has a professor father, and his future will not be bad. He frowned slightly, sizing me up, and then came over and gently embraced me. Ningning, Rujing is your son. I know how much effort you have put in. I won't snatch him from you. Professor Shin is wrong. I am still a big girl. How can I have a son? I hope you can help me clarify it after the divorce. I pushed him away and sneered. In the last life, for the sake of Shinhushi's reputation, I lived a widow all my life. I also tacitly agreed that Shin Rujing, who was adopted, was our biological son. It was so that one day, this false family happiness could become real, even in the long and boring marriage. After failing to warm up Shinhushi, I slowly put my efforts into cultivating Shinrujing as a new sustenance, but I didn't expect Shinhushi and his son to be so cruel. He cheated me out of my pants, and he wanted to eat my flesh and drink my blood. I will remember this even when I die. In my previous life, after I knew about Lu Yenjing's existence, I called Shinrujing into the ICU alone and gave him many instructions. He was told to complete the divorce procedures between Shinhushi and me before I died. I wanted to draw a clear line between me and him before I left. I didn't want to be his original wife after I died. I thought it was dirty. I thought that this son who I raised and cultivated would understand me and fulfill my last wish. I grabbed his hand with force and hope. In addition, Rujing, you must cremate me with your own hands and bury me in the Jiang family's ancestral tomb. Mom, you are so sick. Don't think too much. Shinrujing listened silently, looking embarrassed. Whether it's divorce or not letting Dad handle your funeral, it will only make outsiders laugh at our family. I widened my eyes. He looked at me helplessly, as if he was looking at a willful and naughty child. Dad and Aunt Lu are both this age. They want to be with their loved ones in their last moments. You let them put an end to their regrets. After all, because of you, they have wasted their lives. Is this still my son? I don't believe it. So I opened my eyes wide and looked carefully. In middle age, he also wore gold-rimmed glasses elegantly like Shinhushi when he was young. The eyebrows and eyes of the two looked more and more alike. In the cold and warm, there was a hint of coldness, perhaps it was a last moment of light, and a ridiculous and bold idea suddenly emerged in my mind. Rujing, you dash, I panted violently. What's wrong with this bullshit? It turns out that the son he had with his lover is so big. The instrument connected to my body squeaked sharply. Shin Rujing stood up in panic and wanted to call a doctor, but it was Lu Yanjing and Shinhushi who pushed the door in. Mom, what are you doing here? He turned his head and called subconsciously. He called so naturally and familiarly. Lu Yanjing walked straight towards me regardless of the father and son's obstruction. She sat down beside my bed, took my skinny hand, and said slowly, Jiang Ning, I know you have a lot of questions. You have trained Rujing so well, I must say thank you in person. Yanjing, Rujing, my eyes wandered on the faces of the three people. So that's it. Lu Yanjing stroked his white temples and said condescendingly, you have been a good person all your life, so there is no need to make everyone look bad at this time. Right, Shin Rujing stammered and lowered his head, agreeing, Mom, please also consider your son. Next month is my promotion evaluation. Shinhushi looked away guiltily. The man who had been upright all his life did not dare to look me in the eye at this moment. Good, you are so nice. After a long time, I reacted and pounded the bed with a miserable laugh. I, Jiang Ning, have been making wedding clothes for others from beginning to end in my life. Even my death was manipulated by others, my death was silent, and my life information was deliberately concealed. The public only remembers that Shinhushi, a famous financial master, reunited with his first love after his wife died. This couple, who had been separated for 60 years, finally tied the knot in the last stage of their lives, without any regrets, and their time was not in vain. The whole world was cheering, and jumping for joy for them, and I, who accompanied Shinhushi all his life and dedicated my life to him, was just a first wife who was mentioned in their love story without even leaving my name. Occasionally, someone mentioned me, saying that it was me who almost made them miss their lives. After hearing that I agreed to divorce, Shinhushi said the same words as in the previous life, Ning, why don't you believe it? Whether there is such a thing or not, it will not affect my feelings for you, TSK. I believed your grandmother's evil. My indifference gave Shinhushi a headache. Ning, divorce is not a joke. We don't make a decision when we are angry. He turned and left, treating me coldly. Anyway, I would figure it out in the end. At 4:30 in the morning, my alarm clock rang. I sneered and turned it off, deleted it all, and continued to sleep with my head covered. Mom, I want to eat the braised beef noodles you made. You haven't kneaded the dough yet. I'm too late. Shin Rujing knocked on my door. His IQ talent was not completely inherited from Shinhushi, but his fussy personality and cleanliness were 100% like him. He had to eat the meals I prepared for him since he was a child. Go find your dad. I pulled the quilt over his head. He was stunned, stood for a while, and then closed the door heavily. After a good sleep, I was radiant and carefully put on makeup. I made a long-lost call. Fu Yunian, I heard that you returned to China to start a business. And you also have a celebrity girlfriend. It seems that her surname is Lu, and her name is Lu Yan or something. After rebirth, I immediately investigated Lu Yanjing. As an idol, her information is easy to find. It is said on the internet that she will soon participate in a big-budget movie, with mysterious capital behind her, and she will bring money into the group. Before I died, I heard from the nurses' gossip that Lu Yanjing married Fu Yunian, a wealthy overseas businessman. Fu Yunian died of illness 3 years ago, and the couple had no children. That's easy. No one knows that when I was 12 years old, I was adopted by the Fu family for a year and called Fu Yunian brother, because he confessed to me. I later fell in love with Shinhushi, and I was afraid of being involved with him, so I simply cut off contact with the Fu family. Who would have thought that this miss would make us the original couple of Shinhushi and Lu Yanjing, who died early, after meeting Fu Yunian? I got straight to the point. I want a divorce. If it gets out of hand, it may ruin your girlfriend's personality. Why don't you think about whether to support her? After that, I left all the housework behind and concentrated on painting in my bestie's gallery. I have been frustrated all my life, and I will not be able to close my eyes in my death. I vented all this anger in my paintings. When Shinhushi found me, I was holding a multi-grit oil paint tray and a paintbrush, covered in all kinds of paint, like a dirty cement craftsman. This made Shinhushi, who was obsessed with cleanliness, frown. Seeing that I had no intention of coming out, he had to walk in. Ning, do you know Fu Yunian? Is his withdrawal of investment in the movie Atsuiching related to you? Fu Yunian is indeed a businessman. He is really fast and has no hesitation. I continued to write. Why, Professor Shin also pays attention to the entertainment industry. Shinhushi was silent for a while. Then he replied carefully, it was the agent of the heroine of the movie who found me, this movie is very important to them, I didn't believe it, who is Lu Yenjing to you? Shin Heji was stunned, adjusted his glasses, and said helplessly, Ning, I don't know her, but Shin Heji. What do you think of this painting? I suddenly put down my pen and stepped aside, on the huge canvas, the flaming sunset illuminates the empty mountains in red, a simple woman, carrying 2 heavy baskets. Walks on the fiery mountain road, Ning, you know, I don't understand painting, Suiching my fingers stroked the basket and said to myself, do you know what she is carrying? It's charcoal. I turned around and looked at him, smiling coldly, the sunset is about to set. And the stones under my feet will also become cold, if she is carrying charcoal, she can continue to pave the fiery road with the sunset, and it will burn endlessly, Ning, charcoal can't be so heavy. And sunlight can't ignite charcoal? This is not true, so, this is just a lie to deceive women, the sun must set, and the road ahead must be dark. The silly woman in the painting is me in the previous life, I regard Shin Heji as the sun I am chasing, and Shin Rujing as the charcoal in the basket. The remaining hope, always, deceived by lies, carrying the burden forward, I looked at the painting steadily. And suddenly picked up the paint bucket on the ground and splashed it heavily on the canvas, paint splattered. The painting I had carefully painted for 3 days became a thick black curtain, mourning the stupid and stubborn me in the last life, liar. Nothing is true, just like you can never love me. I suddenly yelled, staring at him breathlessly, please agree to divorce, Professor Shin, don't give in, Jiang Ning has never had no other choice. Shin Heji's expression was shocked. And there was a trace of fear in his surprise. Other choices? Do you mean Fu Yunian? He asked with a trembling voice. At this moment, he seemed to finally note that my determination to divorce was real. 2 days later, Lu Yenjing and her agent came directly to the door. After entering the house, he raised his neck slightly and looked around. That look was like looking down on his own fiefdom. The young Lu Yenjing was indeed good-looking, but that kind of high-handed. Ant-like look was exactly the same as when he was old. It can be seen how comfortable and smooth her life was. Shin Heji politely received them and sat down, and took the initiative to introduce us to each other. The professor who used to be proud and talented, untainted by dust, was willing to be a flattering lobbyist for the sake of his beloved. Mrs. Shen, what is your relationship with Yunyan? Lu Yenjing sat down with reserve, and looked pretentious.
Ha!
Asking for help without forgetting to be pretentious, he once admired me. I should be his first love, white moonlight. I looked at her carefully and replied slowly, her expression changed slightly. Shin Heji paused while holding the tea and looked at me, Ning, why haven't I heard you say that before? A good ex should be as good as dead. I've done a good job over the years. Shin Heji, the surroundings were quiet, only the agent was sour and hissed softly, then why did you contact him again and make things difficult for me? Lu Yenjing was unhappy and threw the bag in her hand onto the coffee table, the metal zipper hit the glass table heavily, sharp and harsh, oh, she really looks like a hostess. I looked at Shin Heji meaningfully, deliberately said, I heard that he seems to be in love, I want to see if he still misses me, if so. That's difficult. I'm speechless, Jiang Ning, you're already married, your son is 8 years old. Lu Yenjing stood up and pointed at me with his white jade finger, furious. I stood up and slapped her hand away rudely, saying coldly, what's wrong with getting married? Can't you think about your first love after getting married, you? Not only that, I can also make him keep his virginity for me. Are you angry? Are you biting me? Lu Yenjing finally realized that something was wrong. A flash of panic flashed in his eyes, and he subconsciously looked at Shin Heji. The two looked at each other in doubt and quickly looked away. The agent was confused. Mrs. Shen, how can you say that? Your husband and son are here. It turned out that when we were on the verge of a fight, Shin Rujing had come down from upstairs at some point and had been listening for an unknown period of time. He was full of disbelief. Mom, you like another man, so you don't care about me recently. Are you really not going to want me? Lu Yenjing was angry and glared at Shin Heji fiercely. Shin Heji hurriedly got up and coaxed the boy, Jing. Your mother is just angry with me, be obedient and go upstairs, we will take care of it. Shin Rujing ignored him and just stared at me, as if waiting for me to admit it myself. I just pretended not to see it and sat down lightly again. Oh, Jing. How ironic, the name was given in the first place so that you can call him Jing. Openly, Ning. Adults' affairs should not involve children, this is not good for Jing. S growth. Shin Heji coaxed his son downstairs and scolded me with a frown. How funny, he can say that adults' affairs should not involve children, then should children's affairs involve adults? I am a good girl in my prime years. Should I pay for the forbidden fruit they tasted when they were deeply in love and be a nanny with an empty title? Lu Yenjing got up angrily. She turned around, picked up her bag and left. bumping into Shinhuji's shoulder. "Oh, your wife is really uneducated, she is just a superficial and low-class woman, I don't believe that Union will really withdraw his investment for her, let's wait and see," I smiled and said behind her, "Miss Liu, I believe you, after all. Everyone has a first love, if Fu Union doesn't work, there will always be other suckers." As soon as the voice fell, Lu Yanjing almost fell at the threshold and almost ran away. I took her arm and watched her go quietly. It's a pity that her other sucker Shinhuji is still just a professor who is working hard at school. His reputation as a young and handsome man is greater than his academic achievements. He can't be relied on for the time being, otherwise the two of them would not have been forced to break up painfully due to reality. Jiang Ning, Fu Yunyan's investment in Suiqing is a business behavior, which is beneficial to him. Why do you do this? Shinhuji sighed. And his words were all about Lu Yanjing's injustice. I smiled faintly. Instead of criticizing me here, Professor Shin, why not go to the financial circle to lobby those business tycoons and help Miss Liu? His pupils behind his glasses suddenly shrank, and he subconsciously opened his lips to ask me something. Finally, he lowered his eyes, sighed, and turned away silently. I looked at his back with sarcasm. In fact, I planned this scene today to vent my anger and also to test it. If Shinhuji felt guilty and took the initiative to agree to divorce and give me enough compensation, then I would still think he has a conscience, but it's really disappointing, he still avoided it and pretended not to know. He was bound to make me a sucker and fleece me. My best friend tapped my forehead. Why go to all this trouble? Just tell them that you know Shinrujing is their son. Shinhuji has to keep his face and stick with him. She disagreed with my caution. But she still didn't understand Shinhuji. In his previous life, he and Lu Yanjing had carefully concealed Shinrujing's life experience, and no news had leaked out for decades. How could he give up his reputation as a professor because of a word from me, even if he didn't care about himself? He would definitely consider Lu Yanjing. Lu Yanjing is 27 years old this year and must transform from an idol. This big budget movie is very important to her. It's related to whether she will become famous overnight and lay a foundation, or be eliminated due to old age. There is also the scandal with Fu Union. All kinds of factors determine that she can't have any black material now. Shinhuji loves her so much, how could he not consider her? After getting Lu Yanjing's hair from Fu Union, the biological samples of the three of them were complete. I sent it for paternity testing without stopping. On the way back, I received a call from Shinhuji, asking me to go back early tonight. He decided to talk to me about divorce, but I didn't expect that this was a hongmen banquet. After 3 glasses of red wine, I felt uncomfortable all over, hot, and a strange desire was stirring. Shinhuji came to help me considerately. The silk white shirt that I picked for him was unbuttoned to the 3rd button. When he leaned over, his chest muscles were faintly visible, my throat was dry and tight, and I couldn't move my eyes away for a moment. Until he helped me to the bed and took off my coat with trembling hands. I suddenly woke up. Shinhuji, you actually drugged me. Shinhuji's body stiffened. Get out. I pointed at the door and yelled, and the discomfort of my body made my tears burst out. He was at a loss, and whispered coaxingly, Ning Ning. No, you just drank a few more glasses. I've thought about it. Let's live a good life. Whatever you want to do, I will cooperate. I slapped him hard. Shinhuji, am I Jiangning so stupid in your eyes? I can't tell whether it's the drug or the wine. In fact, I know that if I hadn't been reborn, I wouldn't be able to tell, and I would definitely think that I had finally seen the moon through the clouds. He was willing to sacrifice himself. I was so moved that I didn't have time to suspect that there was something wrong with the wine. Who are you showing off your heroic and sacrificial appearance to? I pointed at his nose and yelled, I'm telling you, I've seen you gain weight, lose hair, have a beer belly, and look so greasy that it makes people sick. I also know how ugly you look with orange peel all over your face, old smell, age spots, and skin and flesh hanging down to your belly. You think you can get me to eat this little bit of medicine? How funny. The heat in my body made me talk without thinking, and my mind was confused. After yelling, I pushed him away, who was shocked and embarrassed, and rushed out of the house. It started to rain halfway, and I ran as fast as I could. With the cold wind blowing on my face, I suddenly stopped while running, propped up my knees and laughed breathlessly. Jiang Ning, you are right to yell, isn't it? Putting aside the filter of love. Shinhuji decades later is really as unbearable and ugly as I said. Screw the gentleman, noble character, and talented jailing flower. After half an hour of rain, I realized that I really had a fever, so I called Fu Yunian. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital, with an 4 drip in my hand. Jiang Ning, what are you two doing? Fu Yunian looked unhappy and handed me his phone. It was his WeChat chat box with Lu Yanjing. Yunyan. Jiang Ning is just angry with her husband and came to you to find a sense of existence. She is a full-time wife and doesn't know what movies are. If you really miss the old feelings, you shouldn't accompany her to fool around. Everyone in Haishur doesn't know that she loves Shinhuji to death. Scroll up and there is a video of more than 1 minute. Under the home surveillance, Shinhuji and I had a candlelight dinner and looked at each other affectionately. Then I leaned on his arms and was helped into the room by him. I sneered and returned the phone to Fu Yunian, then I called the doctor and told him the situation. Beast. As soon as the doctor left, Fu Yunian put his hands on his waist and got angry. Ning Ning, they can't even think about this money. It's too much. Do you really think you don't have anyone to support you? I held back my tears. No, I will make them lose with conviction. Fu Yunian looked at me puzzled. My best friend Chen Han was on her way, bringing the animation film investment plan that we had recently rushed to work on overnight. Shin Heji was right, Fu Yunian's investment in Lu Yanjing was a commercial act, and he was going for money. How could I kidnap him with only a fragile childhood relationship? In this life, marriages must be divorced, and careers must be developed, in the previous life, because of Shin Heji's cleanliness. I gave up the painting that I had studied hard for 20 years and served them full-time. At that time, Chen Han invited me to be the art director for her Chinese-style animation film. I declined the opportunity, considering that Shin Rujing was busy with schoolwork, had a full schedule of training classes, and that he and his nanny didn't get along. Now I have to be not only an art director, but also a producer. So, regardless of whether Lu Yanjing is there or not, I will definitely fight for Fu Yunyan's investment. At the business reception the next day, Shin Heji and some bigwigs in the industry he invited were lobbying Fu Yunyan to continue investing in the movie Chui Chang. The director of Chui Chang was also present. I'm sorry, Director Zhou. I have decided to invest this money in Director Chen's movie, Neza. Which Director Chen? Everyone looked at each other. Chen Han and I entered with a smile, after a brief introduction. Everyone in the room had a movie investment book. After reading it, there were actually a few people who were interested. That was natural. Chen Han's movie in his previous life became a dark horse. Now with my rebirth, anyone who knows a little about movies knows that it is not a loss. So, no one mentioned Lu Yanjing at the scene. When had she ever been so cold-shouldered before? Her eyes immediately turned red. Jiang Ning, stop it. You dragged so many people to act with you just to be angry. It's too ridiculous. I'm afraid you won't be able to stop it. Shin Heji frowned and scolded me in front of so many people. Then he looked at Fu Yunian and said seriously, Mr. Fu, as Yanjing's boyfriend, you should know how important the movie Destroying the City is to her. I promise to handle the matter between Jiang Ning and me and won't let her suffer any grievances. I didn't say anything, and Chen Han rolled his eyes in anger. Shin Heji, Ning Ning has only been married to you for 6 years. Have you really forgotten how profound her attainments in art are? Fu Yunian frowned and said bluntly, Jiang Ning is not making trouble. It's you who should go back to your academic world. You don't understand the film industry. He pointed at Lu Yanjing regardless of Shin Heji's ugly face. Also, let me clarify one more thing. Miss Lu and I are just partners. Professor Shin had better make it clear before speaking. Lu Yanjing's forced smile could no longer be held back. She put down her wine glass, turned around and left the venue quickly. Overnight, not only did she lose a big production, she also lost a powerful sponsor, and I haven't used my biggest trump card yet. I don't know whether Shin Heji was embarrassed or felt sorry for Lu Yanjing. After a moment of hesitation, he hurriedly chased after her. Everyone cast sympathetic eyes at me. I just smiled and didn't take it to heart. On the day the paternity test report came out, Shin Heji went home drunk. Professor Shin, who never socialized and hated the world of fame and fortune, put down all his face for the woman he loved, but in front of me, he was cold and arrogant all his life. I stared at the words, 99% suspected biological father-son relationship, and my heart still couldn't help but ache. I know, it's not that I still have fantasies about Shin Heji, but I don't want to admit that my life is really worthless. The truth is just a few words, but for me, for more than 40 years, those hard days and nights, those never-ending extravagant hopes and fantasies are still corroding my nerves. When I opened the paternity test report, I still fantasized that Shin Rujing was just Lu Yanjing's son. I saw their similar eyebrows and eyes before I died, but I was just old and blurry. Now, it's completely disillusioned. Shin Heji really doesn't love me, not a bit. In the long years, he didn't have a man's instinct for me. It would be fine if he really kept himself clean, but he is really Shin Rujing's father. This cognition completely trampled all my dignity as a woman into mud. A hatred filled up, and I bit my lip. Shin Heji, I've decided, not only do I want a divorce, I also want you to be happy. I suddenly spoke in the dark restaurant. Shin Heji looked at me in shock and turned on the light. Why should I mend your tattered and dirty world? This is what you three should face, I said woodenly. Shin Heji's face turned pale, and his misty eyes suddenly turned clear. He walked closer and picked up the report with trembling hands. After a long time, he slowly put it down and said in a hoarse voice, Ning Ning. You know, well, I know. There was silence for nearly a minute. He knelt in front of me and choked up to tell me about his past with Lu Yanjing. At that time, he was still a poor college student and was not recognized by Lu's parents. On the night they broke up, they impulsively rolled on the bed after drinking. Because of her inexperience, Lu Yanjing didn't know she was tricked until she was 3 months pregnant. She also interrupted her studies and gave birth to Shin Rujing, Ningning. I'm sorry for her and ruined her life. Shin Heji held my hand tightly. I only feel guilty about her, believe me, as for that kind of thing. It's not what you think. I want to keep my virginity for her. Seeing that I didn't believe him, he stood up, took me to his study, and took out a psychological medical report. After that incident, I have been seeing a psychologist. I can't get over this hurdle. I hate that I can't control myself. Ningning, give me some time. There was a struggle in his eyes, and he looked at me painfully. If you mind Rujing, I will send him away and won't let you see him again. Ningning, don't divorce. Okay, my situation is only temporary. I don't believe a word he said. Shin Heji's greatest achievement is not finance, it's Pua, the master of kings. No one competes with him. In the previous life, the sentence, whether there is such a thing, it will not affect my love for you, made me willing to be a widow for him for a lifetime. Now, she is trying to deceive my sympathy by saying, I feel guilty about her and want to live well with me. There is no such good thing in the world. I pulled my hand away indifferently. Professor Shin, I give you 3 days to complete the divorce procedures with me, otherwise, I will immediately make public this paternity test report. During these 3 days, I devoted myself to work and isolated myself from all information from the outside world. Chen Han said that Shin Heji waited outside the studio every day, and even squatted in the parking lot, just to see me. On the last day, he brought Shin Rujing to beg me together. Shin Rujing cried and cried until her voice was hoarse. I was as hard as a stone and did not waver. Chen Han was so tearful that he locked himself in the office and cried bitterly. In the past 6 years, I treated Shin Rujing like a pearl and a treasure. Shin Rujing even recognized her as his godmother. She couldn't bear to be a godmother, but I, a mother who did everything myself, could be so cruel. Now, I know you really want a divorce and want to do something. I took a sip of the cold coffee, and it was bitter to the bottom of my heart. Chen Han didn't understand. When I was old and weak, sick, and pinned all my hopes on him, he said with his cold mouth, Dad and Aunt Lu are both this age. They want to be with their loved ones in their last moments. You let them get rid of a regret. After all, because of you, they have wasted their lives. No one knows how desperate and heartbroken I was at that time. Everyone in the world cannot understand me, even scold me and blame me. I don't blame, but only Shin Rujing. I don't forgive. It was him who made me really live alone in the last stage of my life, live as a completely pitiful person. When the time came, I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau as scheduled. Shin Heji was pale and thin, with a layer of white dead skin on his lips and dark circles under his eyes. Like a person who had been ill for a long time, he fell down when the wind blew. Jiangning, are we really going to this point? I pursed my lips and looked into the distance. He seemed to want to say something, but in the end he only said, You are right to stop the loss in time. I am really unsure about my illness. I shouldn't delay you. The staff asked him, Have you thought it through? There was a flash of reluctance in his eyes, and then he nodded silently. As soon as the steel seal fell, our bad fate in this life was completely ended. Whether he really didn't want to divorce me or was afraid that I would expose Shin Rujing's life experience, I don't want to pursue it anymore. When we walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Fu Yuxing's sports car was parked on the opposite side of the road. Before parting, Shin Heji said the last words to me. He said that Lu Yanjing was just an impulse in his youth and a thing of the past. He will take good care of Shin Rujing from now on and will not have any involvement with her. That sincere and determined look seemed to be two completely different people from Shin Heji at the age of 80. The movie was released half a year later and was a great success. At the celebration banquet, Fu Yuxing excitedly hugged me and turned around a few times. Ningning, welcome back. This is the real you. I knew you would succeed. I screamed, dizzy, and kept hitting him. Put me down quickly. Didn't you make a lot of money? Chen Han teased him that the investment was a great success, and he should go back to Australia, and he would not be able to get the dividends. In the past 6 months, he has been with me for as long as I have been in the studio, and even moved his office here. The staff laughed at him, saying that they had never seen such a serious and responsible investor. They even discussed privately whether the Fu family had gone bankrupt and relied on this investment to make a comeback. He smiled and said that he hadn't found a wife yet and he couldn't face his parents, but in the past 6 months, in the glamorous entertainment industry, there was no scandal about him. Later, everyone realized that his target was me. I didn't care at first, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't expect that the little love letter in my youth would be in my heart for more than 10 years. Today, it has become his passionate pursuit. When Shen Han asked me in private whether I would accept him, I subconsciously asked back, is there really someone who loves me? She was stunned, laughing and crying, and tapped my forehead. My big producer, you are now worth hundreds of millions. Are you kidding me? I just reacted, oh, now I am 27 years old, still holding fantasies and pursuits of love, full of fighting spirit, and believe that if I keep thinking about it, there will be a response. I am not the old lady who experienced more than 40 years of love desert life in the last life. and believed that I was not good enough to be loved, and worked hard all my life in confusion, but finally got nothing. So, I told Fu Yunian that it might take a long time for me to believe that he loves me. He said it's okay, he will wait. Strange, Shin Heshi is really going to marry Lu Yenjing, which is very different from his previous performance. One day, Chen Han rushed into my office with a wedding invitation. Something is wrong, he has not given up on getting you back in the past few months. Why is he digging his own grave? I glanced at the wedding invitation and was attracted by the handwritten signature of the groom on it. I stood up. A ridiculous idea came to my mind. Shin Heshi was also reborn, only I know that the writing of these 3 words was a new signature specially designed by someone after his 50th birthday. And he used it until he was 80 years old. On the wedding day, I secretly went to the wedding banquet wearing a mask. Not long after Lu Yenjing announced the new heroine in the movie It's Suiqing, she announced her retirement. It was very high profile at the time. Her fans proudly claimed that she was going back to inherit the family business and didn't care about the entertainment industry. Anyway, it was a decent exit. The Lu family company has long been not as good as before. Lu Yenjing was busy on the road of blind dates soon, but the quality of the people introduced by Lu's father was worrying, which made her very dissatisfied. She was photographed by the media many times with a stern face and quarreled with others, so not long after, she went back to find Shin Heji. Now Shin Heji is a professor at a well-known university with outstanding academic achievements. This flower of jailing is so popular after the divorce, but for some reason, the two have not made any progress. When asked about his relationship, Shin Heji always said frankly that he had no intention of remarrying. When the newlyweds toasted, I saw across the table that Shin Heji subconsciously looked for a cane when he turned around, and I knew that I guessed right, just reborn. Some habitual actions engraved in the bones will not change all of a sudden. We met eyes. I recognized each other at once. He stopped me in the parking lot outside the hotel. Anyway, Jiang Ning. Thank you for your help, he said. His eyes were indifferent and calm. He was indeed not the Shin Heji who was still obsessed with the divorce. I smiled calmly. No, we should have done this a long time ago. He nodded, with some emotion. I am happy for you to see your achievements today. Thank you, I said. Then, we looked at each other in silence. This is also normal. We spent the next 10 years like this. When we were about to part, he suddenly said that he didn't know why his younger self rejected Lu Yenjing. Marrying his first love was obviously his regret, and he should have been eager for it. He still kept your studio and everything you left at home. Rujing told me that he accidentally damaged one of your paintings and was severely punished by him. The elderly Shin Heji's eyes were confused. Jiang Ning, I was ill when I was 55 years old. The psychiatrist said that I forgot a lot of things. I don't know if it is related to this, I asked curiously. Have you ever been ill? He nodded thoughtfully. Oh, I have been seeing a psychiatrist, but I kept it from you. So, he changed his signature to a new one, not because he wanted to change his style, but because of amnesia. Seeing that I hadn't come back yet, Fu Yunian came to find me and met Shin Heji. Professor Shin, happy marriage. He put his arm around my shoulder and congratulated me insincerely. Shin Heji didn't get angry. He nodded and turned to leave. I was still watching his disappearing figure until he disappeared. Fu Yunian was jealous, took my hand and walked back, saying sourly, "What's so good about this old scholar? I think he looks a bit prematurely aged and lifeless." I laughed out loud. He said seriously, "Don't disbelieve it. People like him may be bald in their early 40s. Don't look at him as gentle and polite now. When he gets fat, he will be greasier than anyone else." He pounded his strong chest. Like me, I love fitness and don't worry too much. I guarantee that I can still make you crazy when I'm 80. I was amused by him and fell down with laughter. An idea also popped up in my mind. It turns out that Shin Heji really had dementia in his old age. Shin Heji got what he wanted. A year later, I also went to Australia with Fu Yunian to meet his parents. You are so cruel. If you say you won't contact me, then don't contact me, even if we are married. We are still your family. Aunt Fu hugged me and cried. Fu Yunian returned home and had a backer. He changed his low-key attitude when pursuing me in China. That's right, this time when she returned to China, she was smart and knew to contact me to help her vent her anger. Otherwise, I would definitely ignore her. TSK, who doesn't have a temper, he said arrogantly. Aunt Fu didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and explained to me, don't believe him. He obviously went back to see if you were doing well. What if you were doing well? I asked. Fu Yunian's face darkened, and he gritted his teeth. I know you avoid me like a snake and scorpion. If you live well, I will never appear in front of you and bother you. I looked at him quietly until my eyes were red. He couldn't hold it anymore, and hurried over to comfort me. It's my fault. I'm mean. I deserve to be beaten. I cried, rushed to hug him and cried loudly. In the previous life, he must have come to see me. Seeing that I loved Shin Heji so much, I devoted myself to my family and son, gave up my paintings and future, and was happy with it. so he quietly returned to Australia, cooperated with me, and didn't disturb me. After confirming the relationship with Fu Yunian, I returned to China. Chen Han was planning to shoot a new movie, and I needed to go back to cooperate with her in the preparatory work. After the meeting, we had a cup of coffee. She told me that during the few months I was in Australia, Shen Hexi and Lu Yanjing's marriage life was in turmoil. She gloated over the misfortune. We all know how difficult it is to serve Rujing, and Lu Yanjing is a young lady who never touches the water of women. I can almost imagine it. Shen Rujing, who is a fussy and clean freak and doesn't like outsiders in the house. Lu Yanjing, who is as proud as a little princess and doesn't do housework. Shen Hexi, who is obsessed with research, likes quietness, and has nothing to do with food and clothes. What kind of life will such a family of three live? Chen Han pounded the table and laughed. You don't know. Now all the teachers and students in a university know that Shen Hexi is not good in that aspect. Lu Yanjing became a widow just after getting married, and she was furious and didn't want to save face for him at all. Shen Hexi, a flower of high mountain, was pulled down from the altar in an instant. It's so funny. I just smiled faintly when I heard it. Chen Han also said that when the two quarreled, Shen Hexi sighed and said that Lu Yanjing couldn't compare with me. Lu Yanjing was naturally dissatisfied, so he slowly and clearly listed dozens of my advantages. Lu Yanjing was so angry that he didn't go home for half a month. Now everyone is guessing when the two will divorce. And a man who was busy dealing with official business overseas heard that Shen Hexi was not good enough, and he shouted with joy and hurriedly called me to verify. I ignored it. After the film was finished, Lu Yanjing found me. She was tortured to the point of no longer having the glory of the past. As soon as she sat down, she threw a divorce certificate at me. Jiang Ning, you did it on purpose, raising the father and son to be so picky. Are you trying to get revenge on me? I gently stirred the coffee. I take such good care of your son, and you have this attitude. She choked. You are so hardworking and uncomplaining. Just live a good life with them. Why do you come to mess up my life? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be in this situation today. Do you love Shen Hexi? I asked. She said irritably, I love Fu Yunian. Shen Hexi and I can't live together at all. I understand. Love or not, for her and Shen Hexi, it is a choice to weigh at the moment. They are both equally selfish, and they only love themselves the most. If they love each other, why can they endure half a century of no contact, no miss, and live their own marriages with peace of mind? If they don't love each other, why do they reunite by coincidence when their original wives die? Like a couple in love, wishing to stay together forever? Now I understand, they haven't been in contact with each other for decades, because there are people around them who carry the burden for them. They are reluctant to give up this kind of welfare and convenience. They reunite and continue their previous relationship only because they are lonely and have no one to accompany them. When there is no other better choice, they are the best combination. For the elderly Shen Hexi, after being reborn, he married his first love as he wished when he was young, but in the end, what he couldn't forget for a long time was me, his ex-wife who was betrayed by him. Shen Hexi fell ill, and he strongly asked me to visit him. Jiang Ning, I'm leaving. He tried to open his eyes and look at me, and stretched out his hand to me tremblingly. I sat on the bed and looked at him quietly. I remember. Did I promise you that except for that kind of thing, I would give you the greatest honor as a wife, and I would only have you in this life and would never betray you? Yes, you said. I didn't avoid it. He lowered his eyes sadly. But I forgot. I have another woman. And I got married again, so this is my retribution. I didn't respond. He slowly closed his eyes, and fell into a coma with a high fever. I know that the old Shen Hexi has gone. He couldn't merge with his younger self. He had a smooth life, and his family and career were both successful. But he was only worried about his first love Lu Yanjing who had hurt him. But if I really go back to my youth, I can make up for my regrets. I also find that the perfect patch is uglier and more unbearable than the regrets. He can't accept this situation, or he is too ashamed to face me again, for various reasons. I don't care. Shen Hexi, who woke up again, looked at me for a long time like a lost child, with red eyes. He seemed to react and came back. He grabbed my hand and said anxiously, Ning Ning, I am not him. I love you. I never thought of betraying you. He said incoherently, you are too good to that old guy. You spoil him too much. He has never experienced the pain of losing you. I am not. I love you. After so many things, I know clearly that I love you. Give me a chance. I will definitely change. I pulled my hand out and shook my head. Shen Hexi, this is you. You can't change it. Your personality determines that you don't have the ability to identify and grasp the beauty. You regard the love of others as a manifestation of weakness. So, when he was doing well, he looked down on me, ignored me, and was high above me, like my God. But if I really left, you would be afraid. So, he bullied me, and now he is humble again. Did he really win in the last life? Now I know that he didn't. His best time was not spent with the one he loved. He could have lived a hot life with me, but he didn't grasp it. I looked at his back in a trance. I'm out. I was relieved, because such a Shen Hexi, no matter who he married, it would be a waste of time, no matter how many times he was reborn. He was destined to miss happiness, and I, with a clear conscience, still have a bright and brilliant future. Old Mrs. Jiang Ning from my previous life, I want to reconcile with you, then I said goodbye. After leaving the hospital, I took out my cell phone and called, Fu Yunian, I miss you, I couldn't wait to start my new life.